People moving out, people moving in. Why? Because of the color of the skin. Run, 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 but you sure can't hide. Well, nobody's interested in learning but the teacher. Segregation, determination, demonstration, integration, aggravation, humiliation, obligation to our nation.
Good morning. Welcome to Detroit Wants to Know. This week we're coming to you from Orchard Maple Family Dental in lovely West Bloomfield. Everybody watching this in a few weeks, if you're a parent, you're going to be enrolling your child in school. There are a myriad of choices from private to public, and in Detroit you have charters, you have the Educational Achievement Authority schools. To help break all this down for us and the myriad of these choices and what's really available to you, I have Dr. Tom Bedroni. He is an associate professor in the College of Education at Wayne State University, our own. Dr. Bedroni, welcome to Detroit Wants to Know. I want to thank you for your research into the Educational Achievement Authority and into charter schools. You're the only one that's really been bringing it out there to the forefront. When a parent is looking to enroll their child in either the Educational Authority or a charter school, what are they getting?
Right. That's a great question, and I'm so glad that you have me here. One of the roles that I play is I'm the director of the Leonard Kaplan Education Collaborative for Critical Urban Studies. And what we try to do is do a lot of that public work and get it out into the public sphere so that it can become part of the conversation around education, because it's obviously such an important part of the year right now, as you're saying, with parents thinking about where are they going to put their kids this year. There's always so much transition in the educational world. So what does it mean right now? Well, parents just within Detroit have the choice between the Educational Achievement Authority, Detroit Public Schools, the various charters, and even some of the suburban surrounding districts that are getting supported financially by a lot of kids leaving Detroit, crossing county borders.
What's that number, about 20,000 now?
I believe it's even higher than that. I think it might be around 30,000. I'd have to double check that. But it's substantial. It is substantial. And it's all per pupil dollars that are leaving the Detroit area, something to be thinking about in itself. Now, all of this would be, in my view, a worthwhile experiment if it were producing results that clearly showed us that parents were getting something out of it. But the fact of the matter is that I have looked at, and my colleagues have looked at, a lot of the data around performance, and financial efficiency, and what we're seeing is that people are getting no better results in charters. They're getting no better results in the EAA. In fact, they're getting worse results. And even with those who are migrating across the county lines into the suburbs, students are oftentimes finding out that they feel really isolated and not entirely welcome, which is a really sad thing in some of our suburban districts. In terms of specifics, one of the things that I did in analyzing the Education Achievement Authority about a year and a half ago was to pinpoint the ways in which students who were entering the EAA schools were actually losing proficiency. It wasn't just that they were making maybe just a little bit of progress toward proficiency, but they were actually downgrading. And many students who came in as proficient, as measured by our state mandated tests, were actually falling further behind so that they were no longer proficient.
That's horrible.
It's a really sad situation.
And what's horrible about that is, you know, our tax dollars were spent to build some of those brand new schools that the EAA has taken over, and to hear that students are actually getting worse in the EAA is horrible.
It is absolutely the case, and we've had great work that has been done recently that has, it's very sad of course what we find out, but it's the work that we need to do for the public. That we know from having to FOIA the EAA, for example, that for the first almost 2 years of their existence, they've been in existence now for 3 years, they did not even have the software ready, the Buzz platform ready in such a way that they considered it something that they'd be proud of. And we know that from FOIAing internal documents to the EA and seeing that those who were developing the software that was the core of their curriculum were not ready to put it out to any other district because they said it was basically hack software. So long story short, what we have in Detroit and around Detroit is a lot of experimentation on mostly African American children. And the underlying theme, whether you're talking about DPS or EAA or charters or the suburban districts, it's all about that money that students represent, the per pupil money, and it's largely also about transferring money from public hands into private profit.
I want to come back to that in the next segment.
Okay.
Where can a parent find your report? Is there a website where your report's available?
Yes, I have a lot of, all of my materials, and some of my colleagues' materials are available on a website called, it's DetroitDataDemocracy.org, all one word, DetroitDataDemocracy.org.
DetroitDataDemocracy.org.
ORG,
okay,
yeah.
ORG. When we come back, we're going to talk about taking our public dollars and putting it into private hands, because you've done a lot of work on that. We talked about that briefly off camera. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with Dr. Tom Petroni of Wayne State University. And give me that website again. DetroitDataDemocracy.org. Visit that site before you make your choice of where you want to put your child in school. We'll be right back with Detroit Wants to Know. Don't leave. You've got to enroll your kids in a couple weeks.
We're taking learning outside the classroom, giving new meaning to hands-on participation, and putting students on the path to higher education. From the classroom to the cockpit, there's only one place for a remarkable education and experience like this. Secure your child's bright future. Enroll today. Detroit Public Schools. See it, believe it.
When you're having a heart attack, this is how it feels to your heart. And if it happens at night or on the weekend, there's only one hospital team standing by on site to save you. Cardio Team 1, only at the DMC.
Parkway Foods is your fresh food destination in Detroit at East Jefferson and St. Jean. With a wide variety of meats, chicken, fish, and other healthy choices, Parkway is your fresh food destination. Conveniently located at 11250 East Jefferson in Detroit, Parkway Foods is your answer. Whether you are picking up some quick items or shopping for the family, always fresh and always priced right. Visit Parkway Foods on East Jefferson and St. Jean for all of your shopping needs, and check out our fabulous recipes at parkwayfoodsdetroit.com.
Here at Quicken Loans, we take special pride in servicing clients that serve our country.
My name is Marjorie Reyes. I'm a Chief Warrant Officer. I am very grateful and appreciative that Quicken Loans can offer service members VA loans. It was very important for me to be able to close and refinance my home quickly. I wanted to lower my mortgage payment. Quicken Loans guided me through every step of the process. The whole experience was amazing.
Serving those who serve us all. One more way, Quicken Loans is engineered to amaze.
When you're ready to sell your home, the prudent choice is I Am Real Estate. Aggressive marketing and attention to detail will make your home selling experience rapid and fulfilling. List your home today by calling I Am Real Estate at 248-539-1200.
Welcome back to Detroit Wants to Know. My guest is Dr. Tom Petroni. We're coming to you from the Orchard Maple Family Dental out in West Bloomfield. Dr. Petroni, you talked about at the end of the last segment that the EAA and charters is all a big move to take public money and put it into private hands. Yeah. Elaborate on that for our viewers.
I will. And one thing you really have to understand is that this is happening nationally. You know, we could even talk about how it's happening internationally, but it's happening nationally in all of our large cities right now. And who lives in our large cities? Well, especially in the public schools, those who attend them are largely African American and Latino and other ethnicities as well. And we're seeing a phenomena. It's not just happening in Detroit. You really have to think about how this is playing out in Chicago and Newark, New Orleans, Memphis, all over. We see this larger tendency to radically transform schools, close down a lot of schools in predominantly African American and Latino neighborhoods, and shift the way that school is provided in such a way that a lot of contractors, a lot of consultants, a lot of for-profit educational management organizations are getting their hands on a piece of the pie. You might remember, Steve, like 10 or 20 years ago, what we used to hear more is always a call to reduce costs on education, because a lot of people would look at it as, well, that's for other people's children. So I want to put my kids in private school. I don't want to pay into that, cut those taxes. Corporations would do that too. But I think there's been a real shift in strategy, because we now know that the education industry, if you want to think of it that way, is huge across the United States. And so a lot of corporate players have realized that, you know, if they can just get their hands on that public money, it's not such a bad thing that so much money is going into public education. So we see the same picture. We have things like the EAA in New Orleans and in Tennessee. They're being built in Nevada. They're being proposed in other places. We have charterization that's happening all over the United States, particularly in low-income African American and Latino communities. And that's what it's all about. It's all about getting your hands on those resources. The agenda is, this is connecting into Detroit, the agenda is really being pushed at a national level by some foundations who are very self-interested. The Bill Gates Foundation, the Walton Foundation connected to Walmart, and the Broad Foundation connected to Eli Broad. And they have substantial partners here in the Detroit area. Eli Broad is from Detroit, as a lot of people know, and he is, the EAA is his baby. Okay, he's someone who is
intimately interesting
involved.
that our Robert Bob, our EM Robert
Yes.
Bob, went through his training academy.
That's right.
And the chancellor from the past chancellor of the EAA went through his academy.
And the current chancellor has just gone through it as well.
No.
Absolutely.
She did too?
Absolutely.
Oh,
right.
come
so,
on.
and you know, and one of the things that's interesting is I get a lot of courage from the fact that, an encouragement from the fact that even with the amount of money that's pouring in to support the EA, we're still able to stop it just through providing facts. So we know that 2 summers ago, $57 million was poured into the EAA. $10 million by the Broad Foundation, $10 million by the Bloomberg Foundation, which is where Veronica Conformi from the EAA comes from, the Bloomberg administration in New York City under Joel Klein and his follower as well. So what's important to know is that we have local partners here who are partners to the Broad Foundation, the Walton Foundation and the Gates Foundation, and the Skillman Foundation, and several others.
Whoa. The Skillman Foundation is a partner with the Broad Foundation?
That's correct. That's correct.
So Tanya Allen is a partner. Tanya Allen's organization is a partner with the Broad Foundation.
It works very closely with the Broad Foundation on many reforms, and that includes everything from the foundation of so-called research organizations, which are really advocacy organizations like Education Trust Midwest. One important thing to know is that we had this coalition that was trying to reform Detroit schools recently. And the truth of the matter is the very same players who initiated that process of the coalition are the same ones who brought us something called Excellent Schools Detroit in 2010, which was a call for various reforms like the creation of the EAA and for the disempowerment of the school board and accountability put into a single point like we had under an emergency manager. And what the public needs to know is that those organizations got what they want. And now they're trying to claim the mantle of being those who are going to come and fix up the very problem that they really largely caused.
I wish we weren't limited by time.
Sure.
I'd like to hear more about that. You challenged me to read that report that the Detroit Coalition put together.
Yes.
That 28-page
Yes.
report. In there, what was that salient point you put in there?
Oh yeah, that the headline that came out of that report is that it was a return of governance to the Detroit Public Schools elected board, and that it was a call for the dissolution of the EAA. But when you actually read the 28-page report, which very few people have done, it turns out, you realize that almost no power is being turned back to the elected board. The elected board still exists with almost no power now, and it would have no power to control its destiny under their plan. And rather than calling for the dissolution of the EAA, it calls for moving the EAA into the governor's office under his School Redesign and Reform Office so that it can take back its initial mission of going statewide and still control its Detroit schools.
Wow. Tom Padroni, thank you
very
again.
much, Steve.
Give us that website one more time.
DetroitDataDemocracy.org.
Okay, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. We're going to talk to my good friend Sabrina Cronin about an incident that actually happened down the block from me a couple weeks ago. We'll be right back. You'll find it interesting. It's PPO time for somebody, not me. Be right back.
When you're having a heart attack, this is how it feels to your heart. And if it happens at night or on the weekend, there's only one hospital team standing by on site to save you. Cardio Team 1, only at the DMC.
Detroit Wants to Know is sponsored by the AFPD, the voice of independent retailers.
Hello, I'm Dr. Shauna Diggs, and welcome to Cosmetic Dermatology.
As Michigan's leader in comprehensive skin health and rejuvenation, board-certified dermatologist Dr. Shauna Ryder Diggs and the entire Cosmetic Dermatology team take a caring, customized approach to skin care. The Cosmetic Derm team effectively treats skin diseases and autoimmune diseases such as lupus. State-of-the-art laser technology is utilized in hair removal, tattoo removal, and skin peels. To learn more, visit our website, Cosmetic Dermatology, where science and beauty meet.
We're the Cronin Law Firm, bringing more to the table. When we sit down together, we share our expertise. You've got a legal problem, we know you need relief. Advice that you can trust, that's why people come to us. We're the Cronin Law Firm, bringing more to the table.
Groundbreaking, life-saving, history-making. The new DMC Heart Hospital, summer 2014. The beat goes on.
Welcome back to Detroit Wants to Know. We're coming to you from Orchard Maple Family Dental Center in lovely West Bloomfield, Michigan. My friends, a couple weeks ago, I was laying in my bed, soundly asleep, and I heard a racket from 2 houses away. The ex-girlfriend of my neighbor had come onto the boat and actually assaulted my neighbor and his girlfriend, and while her friend actually held them down. So she brought her muscle, which is about a 5'5" woman that weighed reportedly 195 pounds. She beats up the boyfriend. The ex-girlfriend beats up the current girlfriend. They rob them, and then they shoot it out. Yes. This is in my lovely neighborhood. And I got to thinking, I said, shouldn't that guy had gotten a PPO, personal protection order? So I decided to ask my good friend and sponsor, Sabrina Cronin, about it. Attorney Cronin, there was a wild shootout 2 doors away. A woman beat up a man. A Baby D-esque. Did you ever see Next Friday? She was just like Baby D. All right?
Right.
Should the guy have gotten a PPO against his ex-girlfriend?
Well, in that instance, the one you just described, there were several crimes committed, and the police should have been called. And
they did show up. It only took them 10 minutes to get there. Once they were called, this is after the shooting stopped.
Right. And in that instance, when criminal charges are brought, there's typically no contact provisions in place. Now, a PPO is usually petitioned for in the court in which the crime occurred, or in the jurisdiction for the, for instance, if it were in Wayne County or if it were in Oakland County, you go to that particular circuit court, you file a petition. And when PPOs are initiated, it's usually before a crime occurs, and that's the very essence of a PPO.
So a PPO keeps somebody from touching you or being within a certain distance of you? What does it do?
If you have a reasonable fear of somebody assaulting you, harassing you, stalking you, and the fear has to be reasonable. For instance, if you had a domestic relationship with somebody and you are no longer in that relationship and you fear that they will be assaulting you, or they are going, crazy over you and calling you incessantly, threatening that if you don't get back together with them, then they will harm you in some way, then yes, file for a PPO. And if you feel as though by that person knowing that you filed for the PPO, then that's going to incite them even further, then you want to get that PPO heard ex parte, which means immediately without the presence of that other person. And oftentimes the court will award and grant the PPO.
I argued with a good friend of mine yesterday. I told her about this segment coming up, and she said a PPO isn't worth the paper that's written on. What happens when somebody violates a PPO?
Then you have to do your due diligence, call your local police, say that this person violated the PPO and the protections afforded me from the PPO, and then oftentimes that person who violated will be charged with stalking. Or violating of the PPO, yes. And then it becomes more criminal in nature.
Now, you mentioned cyber stalking earlier. What in the world is cyber stalking?
Cyber stalking is something that's happening more and more these days. And it's when people post things on social media, through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. They are either threatening you or doing things that are oftentimes, you know, you hear the word creepy now, you know, if they're creeping on you, and they're showing pictures of you that you were never in those places, and so they're photoshopping you in places with them, or they want to, you know, be in a relationship with you and you have no idea who that person is, or they're saying they're going to come to your work or be at your home. You know, that is cyber stalking, and if 2 or more incidences of that take place, then yes, you have grounds to file for a PPO.
Okay. So, one quick question before we go to break. Is it easier to file a PPO in Wayne County or in Oakland County?
You know, that's the never-ending question, and sometimes it just depends on the judge or the visiting judge who sees the actual petition for the PPO. And I always tell my clients, if they want a PPO, it's often better to make sure your stories are very detailed, the dates of the alleged incidences, if you have a police report that you can attach, or a police report incident number that you can attach to the petition for the PPO, you are usually more successful in getting the PPO granted. Honestly, it just depends.
So in terms of the process, is it easier in Oakland County than it is in Wayne County?
It's a very similar process. You can even fill out the petition online.
Oh, really?
Yes, and then you can bring it to court, and then you wait. And again, if you want something heard immediately and you want the ex parte PPO granted, then it's usually, you're there for a few hours.
Okay. How can people contact you?
They can call 855-CALL-CRONIN or check out my website, callcroninlaw.com.
Okay. You're going to come back later this month?
I will.
We're going to talk about DUIs.
Okay.
We're going to do it.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back. And we're going to talk to Dr. Woodruff about getting your kids ready for schools and this proprietary smile technique he has. I can't wait to see that. Stay tuned to Detroit Wants to Know. We'll be right back.
Parkway Foods is your fresh food destination in Detroit at East Jefferson and St. Jean. With a wide variety of meats, chicken, fish, and other healthy choices, Parkway is your fresh food destination. Conveniently located at 11250 East Jefferson in Detroit, Parkway Foods is your answer. Whether you are picking up some quick items or shopping for the family, always fresh and always priced right. Visit Parkway Foods on East Jefferson and St. Jean for all of your shopping needs, and check out our fabulous recipes at parkwayfoodsdetroit.com.
Find your path to success at Wayne County Community College District. From high-tech facilities to experienced instructors to a range of programs that give you the skills you need for in-demand jobs. Everything you need to jumpstart a new career or advance your education is at a campus near you. And we're here to support you every step of the way. So why wait? Register today.
Welcome to Orchard Maple Family Dental in West Bloomfield.
I'm Dr. William Woodruff. I practiced dentistry in Metro Detroit for over 40 years, and now my son has joined the practice.
I'm proud to practice dentistry with my father. It's a second-generation family business, which now includes my wife.
Working with my father-in-law and husband is very gratifying. We truly care about our patients.
New patients get $100 off any dental treatment over $250. Call 248-702-5822.
What is fabulous? It's a fusion of your style, grace, and exception. It's a celebration of you being different. It's your mission statement to the world saying, I'm here and I'm ready. Take notice. I'm fabulous. It's not just who you are, it's what you wear. You continue being fabulous, and we'll continue helping you define it. Fabulous Detroit. Ladies Apparel. Available at Simply Casual in Detroit and Dulce Moda in Royal Oak, and online at fabulousdetroit.club.
Welcome back to Detroit Wants to Know. This week we've been coming to you from Orchard Maple Family Dental Center in West Bloomfield. This is where Dr. Woodruff works. This is his practice, and I have Dr. Woodruff here to explain what is needed to get a child ready to go back to school, the checkups that are needed. Dr. Woodruff, welcome to the show. Tell us how you're going to get young Asia ready to go back to Schultz Academy, a DPS school in Detroit.
Well, the first thing we do is we welcome her back for her 6-month checkup, and also we express to her the importance of maintaining good oral health. We show her how to properly use this and brush her teeth the correct way. We tell her how to eat proper foods, proper snacks, and how to floss her teeth. So she maintains good oral health.
So what parts of the checkup do you do preschool, going back to school? What do you do besides teaching them how to brush their teeth?
Okay, we do a thorough cleaning. She gets a thorough cleaning, and we check her gums to see if she has any gum inflammation or periodontal disease, and we check to see if she's eating the correct foods, and if she has any sports injuries, possibly from that occurred during the summer with playing sports and so forth.
How important is it for children to get a checkup before going back to school?
It's very important because what they do is once they're in school, they get busy doing other things, and they put off the checkup, dental checkup, to holiday time or the next year. So it's very important to do it right before you go back to school.
Also, when you do your dental checkups, the dentist can see things that are predictors of health problems, such as diabetes and that type of thing also?
Oh yes,
correct?
That's important. And also, a lot of children, we can discover if they are candidates for braces. A lot of children at her age, they may be candidates for braces, or we call it interceptive dentistry. We make appliances so they won't have to wear braces.
Okay. Dr. Woodruff, how can a parent contact you to set up an appointment for the checkup, and tell us the type of insurance you accept?
Okay, we accept all major insurances, and they can contact me by calling 248-851-2876. That's 248-851-2876.
Asia, I don't have a mic on you, but are you excited about going back to DPS this fall? Yes? Okay. What do you want to be when you grow up?
Like my mom.
What is she?
A dentist.
Okay. Awesome, Asia. Well, Dr. Woodruff, I want to thank you for letting us have the show here this week, and thank you for introducing me to Asia. Schultz Academy is still a great school. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching Detroit Wants to Know. We went from the educational system to PPOs, then back to the real subject of getting your child ready for school. Don't forget the dentist when you're getting your mix of all the things you have to do. And come out to Orchard Maple Family Dental. You'll love it. Have a great week. We'll see you next week on Detroit Wants to Know.